The shuttle landed quietly on Earth's surface just after midnight. Ambassador Helen Cruz stepped out and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrian Empire was planning to destroy her world. She had learned this during her visit to their capital ship, but she had to act like everything was normal. Helen walked to her car and drove through the empty streets. Most people were sleeping, but she knew that deep underground, thousands of humans were working on the most important project in history. She drove to the mountains outside the city, where a hidden entrance led to the secret base. Admiral Jake Morrison was waiting for her in the command center. The room was huge, carved out of solid rock deep inside the mountain. Hundreds of screens showed information from across the galaxy. Jake looked tired. He had been working for 20 years on this project, and now they were running out of time. "What did you learn?" Jake asked. Helen sat down and opened her briefcase. "The Empire is coming. Their main fleet will arrive in 4 months. They plan to use Earth as an example to scare other worlds." Jake closed his eyes. 4 months was not much time, but it might be enough. "Are you sure they still think we are primitive?" "Yes," Helen said. "They scanned our cities and saw only basic technology. They have no idea what we are really doing down here." Dr. Lisa Webb entered the room carrying a tablet. She was the smartest person Jake had ever met, and she had designed the technology that would save humanity. Lisa looked excited despite the bad news. "The tests worked perfectly," Lisa said. "All 3 ships passed the final scans. The Empire's sensors cannot tell the difference between our ships and real planets." Jake smiled for the first time in weeks. For 50 years, ever since first contact with the Empire, humanity had been preparing for this moment. While the Zephyrians thought humans were just another weak species, Earth's best minds had been working in secret. The plan was simple but incredible. Humanity had built 3 massive warships, each the size of a small planet. The ships looked exactly like natural worlds, complete with fake atmospheres and surface features. The Empire's scanners would see nothing suspicious. "Show me the current status," Jake said. Lisa pressed buttons on her tablet, and the main screen changed. It showed 3 objects floating in space near Earth. To anyone watching, they looked like small moons or asteroids. But Jake knew the truth. These were the most powerful weapons ever created by humans. "New Terra is at 98% ready," Lisa said. "Captain Nick Parker and his crew are running final tests on the weapon systems. Liberty Prime is at 95%. Vice Admiral Tony Garcia says they will be ready in 2 weeks. Freedom's Edge needs a bit more work, but they should be finished in time." Jake nodded. Each ship could hold 5 million people and had enough weapons to fight an entire enemy fleet. The power systems used a new type of energy that Lisa had invented. The ships could move, fight, and hide for years without running out of power. "What about the people?" Jake asked. "Are the evacuations ready?" Helen answered this question. "We have been moving people slowly for months. Families are told they are going to new colonies or research stations. Most of them do not know they are really going inside the planet ships. We have moved 3 million people so far." This was the hardest part of the plan. Humanity could not tell everyone the truth because the Empire might find out. Only a few thousand people knew about the planet ships. Everyone else thought they were just moving to new homes in space. Captain Nick Parker walked into the command center. He was a tall man with gray hair who had been flying spaceships for 30 years. Nick had been chosen to command New Terra because he was the best pilot in the human fleet. "Admiral," Nick said, "we detected Empire scout ships at the edge of the solar system. They are still far away, but they are watching us." Jake looked at the screens again. Red dots showed where the Empire ships were located. They were being careful, staying far enough away that Earth's primitive sensors would not detect them. But humanity's real sensors, hidden deep in space, could see everything. How long before they report back to their fleet? Jake asked. 2 days, maybe 3, Nick said. They are taking pictures and scanning for weapons. They will find nothing, because we are still using the old technology on the surface. This was another part of the plan. Earth cities still used old computers and simple weapons. The real technology was hidden underground or inside the planet ships. When the Empire looked at Earth, they saw exactly what humans wanted them to see. Dr. Lisa Webb spoke up again. There is one problem. The Empire's new scanners are stronger than we expected. We might need to adjust the hiding systems on all 3 ships. Jake felt worried. If the Empire discovered the planet ships too early, the plan would fail. How long will the adjustments take? 2 weeks if we work day and night, Lisa said, but we can do it. The ships will be perfectly hidden. Helen looked at the screens showing the Empire scout ships. What if they attack before we are ready? Jake had thought about this many times. Then we fight with what we have. But I believe they will wait. The Empire likes to bring their full fleet when they destroy a world. They want to make sure everyone in the galaxy sees what happens to planets that do not surrender. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew that the next few months would decide the future of humanity. If the plan worked, Earth would survive and become a major power in the galaxy. If it failed, every human would die. We need to contact the other ship commanders, Jake said. Tell them about the Empire Scouts. Make sure everyone understands that we cannot make any mistakes now. Nick nodded. I will talk to Tony Garcia and the others. We are all ready to do whatever it takes. As the meeting ended, Jake looked at the screens one more time. Somewhere in space, 3 planet-sized warships waited in perfect disguise. The Empire had no idea that their next target could fight back. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity was much more dangerous than anyone believed. The Empire fleet arrived 3 weeks later. Admiral Jake Morrison watched from the underground command center as dozens of massive warships appeared near Earth. The ships were black and covered with weapons. Each one was bigger than any city. On Earth's surface, they brought more ships than we expected, General Pete Collins said. He was standing next to Jake, looking at the screens that showed the enemy fleet. I count 47 capital ships and over 200 smaller vessels. Jake nodded, but did not look worried. Good. The more ships they bring, the bigger our victory will be. On the main screen, they could see the largest Empire ship. It was 3 times bigger than the others, and shaped like a giant sword. This was War Master Zeth Karr's flagship. The alien leader was known across the galaxy for destroying worlds that refused to surrender. Captain Nick Parker's voice came through the communication system. He was aboard New Terra, which looked like a small moon floating near Earth. Admiral, the Empire is scanning us right now. Their sensors are passing right through our disguise systems. Dr. Lisa Webb was working at her computer station. She had not slept for 2 days, making final adjustments to keep the planet ships hidden. All systems are working perfectly, she said. They see exactly what we want them to see. The Empire scanners were very powerful, but Lisa's technology was better. When the aliens looked at New Terra, Liberty Prime, and Freedom's Edge, they saw only rocks and ice. The ship's fake surfaces showed impact craters and frozen gases. Just like real moons and asteroids. Commander Amy Stone was inside New Terra's hidden fighter bay. She was the best pilot in the human fleet, and she would lead the attack when the time came. Around her, thousands of small fighters were ready for battle. The ships were painted black so the Empire could not see them. How many fighters do we have ready? Amy asked her second-in-command. 12,000 across all 3 ships, came the answer. Each one is faster and better armed than anything the Empire has. Meanwhile, Ambassador Helen Cruz was on Earth's surface in the Capitol building. She had to act like a scared, primitive human while Empire officers visited the planet. The aliens were tall and gray, with 4 arms and large black eyes. They looked at humans like insects. "Your people will surrender now," the Empire officer said to Helen. His voice was cold and electronic. "War Master Zethkar gives you 1 day to decide. If you refuse, your world will be destroyed as an example to others." Helen pretended to be frightened. "Please, we are a peaceful people. We have no weapons that could threaten your mighty empire. Can we not find another way?" The alien officer laughed. "There is no other way. The Empire has conquered 847 worlds. None have ever successfully resisted us. Your primitive technology cannot protect you." If only he knew the truth, Helen thought. But she kept acting scared and helpless deep inside Liberty Prime. Vice Admiral Tony Garcia was meeting with his senior officers. The ship looked like a large asteroid from the outside, but inside it was a massive warship with more firepower than the entire Empire fleet. "The enemy is positioning their planet-killer weapons," one officer reported. "They have 6 of them, each capable of cracking a world in half." Tony looked at the tactical display. The Empire's planet killers were huge missiles that could destroy entire continents. But Tony was not worried. Liberty Prime shields could stop those weapons, and its guns could destroy them before they reached Earth. Dr. Carl Fisher was in the power room of Freedom's Edge, the 3rd planet ship. He was watching the massive fusion reactors that powered the ship's weapons and systems. Each reactor produced more energy than Earth's sun. "Power levels are at maximum," Carl reported to the bridge. "We can maintain full combat operations for 6 months without shutting down." The Empire fleet was now in position around Earth. War Master Zethkar had arranged his ships in a perfect formation to attack the planet from all sides. He had done this many times before, and it always worked. No world had ever survived this kind of assault. But Zethkar did not know that he was surrounded by 3 ships that could each fight his entire fleet. The planet ships were hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Major Kate Sullivan was preparing her boarding teams aboard New Terra. If the battle went well, they would capture Empire ships and learn their secrets. Kate had trained for years in zero-gravity combat, and her soldiers were the best in the human military. "Remember," Kate told her teams, "we want prisoners if possible. The Empire has technology we need, and their officers know the locations of other enemy fleets." Engineer Bob Mitchell was crawling through maintenance tunnels inside Liberty Prime, checking the disguise systems one last time. The holographic projectors had to work perfectly, or the Empire would discover the ship before the battle began. "All systems green," Bob reported. "The Empire scanners still think we are just a big rock." As the day passed, tension grew throughout the human fleet. Everyone knew that tomorrow would bring the most important battle in human history. If they won, humanity would become a major power in the galaxy. If they lost, their species would be extinct. Jake Morrison stood in the command center, watching the enemy fleet prepare for their attack. The Empire officers were confident and relaxed. They had done this so many times that destroying a world was routine for them. But tomorrow, they would learn that humanity was different. Tomorrow, they would discover that sometimes the smallest species could have the biggest surprises. The countdown had begun. In 18 hours, the Empire would begin their attack on Earth. And in 18 hours, they would learn why you should never underestimate humanity. Jake smiled as he watched the enemy ships. They had no idea what was coming for them. The final day had arrived. Admiral Jake Morrison woke up before dawn in his quarters deep inside the mountain. In 12 hours, the Empire would begin their attack on Earth. In 12 hours, humanity would reveal its greatest secret. Jake walked to the command center where hundreds of people worked at their stations. Every screen showed different parts of the Empire fleet. The alien ships had not moved during the night. They were waiting for War Master Zethkar's order to begin the destruction of Earth. "Status report," Jake said to General Pete Collins. "All 3-planet ships are in perfect position," Pete answered. "New Terra is disguised as Earth's second moon. Liberty Prime looks like an asteroid near Mars. Freedom's Edge appears to be a small planet at the edge of the solar system." Jake nodded. The ships had moved slowly during the night, taking positions that would give them the best advantage when the fighting started. The Empire fleet was now surrounded, but they had no idea Dr. Lisa Webb was at her computer station, watching the disguise systems. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but she had not stopped working for 3 days. The technology had to be perfect. "The Empire is doing deeper scans now," Lisa said. "Their sensors are more powerful than we thought, but our systems are holding. They still see nothing but rocks and ice. This was the most dangerous part. If the Empire discovered even one planet ship before the battle began, the surprise would be ruined. Lisa's disguise technology was being tested to its limits. Captain Nick Parker was on the bridge of New Terra. His ship looked like a small moon, but inside it was the most powerful warship ever built by humans. Nick had commanded many ships during his career, but nothing like this. "Final weapons check," Nick said to his crew. "All weapon systems ready," his weapons officer reported. "We have enough firepower to destroy half their fleet in the first attack." "Fighter bays are ready," Commander Amy Stone added. 3,000 fighters prepared for launch. "The pilots are excited to finally fight back," Nick smiled. For 50 years, humanity had run and hidden from the Empire. Today they would stand and fight. Vice Admiral Tony Garcia was aboard Liberty Prime, the second planet ship. His vessel was disguised as a large asteroid, slowly rotating in space. Inside the fake rock surface, millions of tons of weapons waited to be revealed. "How long until we can drop the disguise?" Tony asked his engineering officer. 30 seconds from your command," came the answer. "The holographic systems will shut down, and our real hull will be visible." "And how long to bring weapons online?" "Another 30 seconds. We will be ready to fight 1 minute after you give the order." Tony looked at the display showing the Empire fleet. The enemy ships were arranged in attack formation around Earth. They had no idea that they were about to face the fight of their lives. On Earth's surface, Ambassador Helen Cruz was in the government building with Empire officers. She had to continue acting like a helpless human leader while knowing that the most powerful fleet in human history was hidden nearby. "You have 6 hours to surrender," the Empire officer told her. "After that, we will begin the demonstration. Your world will be destroyed slowly so that other species can see what happens to those who do not obey the Empire." Helen pretended to cry and beg for more time. Inside, she was counting the minutes until humanity could finally fight back. Major Kate Sullivan was in the boarding bay of New Terra with her special forces teams. If the battle went well, they would capture Empire ships and take prisoners. Kate had studied Empire ship designs for years, preparing for this moment. "Remember the plan," Kate told her soldiers. "We board their command ships first. We need their officers alive and their computers intact." Engineer Bob Mitchell was making final checks on the disguise systems aboard Liberty Prime. He crawled through narrow tunnels, testing every projector and sensor. One small mistake could reveal the ship too early. "All systems perfect," Bob reported. "To the bridge. We can maintain the disguise until the Admiral gives the order." Dr. Carl Fisher was in the power room of Freedom's Edge, monitoring the massive reactors. The ship's power systems were running at full capacity, ready to feed energy to the weapons and shields. "Reactors at 100%, Carl reported. We have enough power to fight for months without stopping. As the hours passed, the Empire fleet began moving into final attack positions. War Master Zethkar was aboard his flagship, preparing to give the order that would destroy Earth. He had done this many times before. It was always the same dot, but Jake Morrison knew something the alien War Master did not. Hidden in space around the Empire fleet were 3 ships that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The Empire thought they were attacking a helpless world. Instead, they were walking into the greatest trap in military history. "All stations report ready," General Pete Collins said. Jake looked at the main screen showing the Empire fleet. In 2 hours, those ships would begin firing on Earth. In 2 hours, they would learn that humanity was not as helpless as they believed. "Send the message to all planet ships," Jake ordered. Operation Revelation begins in 1 hour and 55 minutes. The countdown had begun. Soon the Empire would discover that the small, primitive species they planned to destroy had built the most powerful warships in the galaxy. Soon they would learn why you should never underestimate humanity. Jake. Morrison smiled as he watched the enemy fleet. They had no idea what was about to happen to them. The moment had come. War Master Zethkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at Earth through the massive viewing window. The small blue planet looked peaceful and helpless. In 10 minutes, it would begin to die. "Prepare the planet killer." "Weapons," Zethkar ordered. His voice was cold and electronic. "We will start with the northern continent. I want the other species in the galaxy to see what happens to worlds that do not surrender." Admiral Jake Morrison watched from the underground command center as the Empire ships moved into final attack positions. The alien fleet had spread out around Earth, with their biggest weapons pointed at the surface. They were ready to begin the destruction. "All planet ships report ready," General Pete Collins said. "Waiting for your order, Admiral." Jake looked at the screens one last time. 3 red dots showed where New Terra, Liberty Prime, and Freedom's Edge waited in perfect disguise. The Empire had no idea they were surrounded by the most powerful warships ever built. "This is Admiral Morrison to all ships," Jake said into his microphone. "Operation Revelation is now active. Drop your masks and show them what humanity can do." On the bridge of New Terra, Captain Nick Parker heard the order he had been waiting for. He turned to his crew and smiled. "You heard the Admiral. Shut down the disguise systems. Let them see what we really are." The holographic projectors that made New Terra look like a small moon suddenly turned off. The fake surface of rocks and all this craters disappeared. In its place appeared a massive warship, bigger than any vessel in the Empire fleet. The ship's hull was dark blue with the symbol of Earth painted on its side dot at the same moment. Liberty Prime dropped its disguise near Mars. What had looked like a rotating asteroid suddenly became a giant warship with hundreds of weapon ports. Freedom's Edge revealed itself at the edge of the solar system, its hull gleaming silver in the starlight. On War Master Zethkar's flagship, alarms began ringing. Officers shouted in panic as their sensors detected the 3 massive ships that had appeared from nowhere. "Impossible," Zethkar screamed. "Where did these ships come from? How did our scanners miss them?" His communications officer was trying to get information from the other ships in the fleet. "Sir, all ships report the same thing. 3 unknown vessels have appeared. They are each larger than our biggest ships." Zethkar stared at the screens, showing the human warships. In 40 years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. The Empire's intelligence had said humans were primitive and weak. But these ships looked more advanced than anything in the Empire fleet. Captain Nick Parker was ready to show the Empire what human engineering could do. "All weapons fire at will," he ordered. New Terra's hull opened like a flower, revealing thousands of weapon ports. Energy beams shot out in all directions, hitting Empire ships with incredible power. Each blast was strong enough to destroy a city, and Nick's ship fired hundreds of them every second. The Empire ships tried to return fire, but their weapons barely scratched New Terra's shields. The human ship's defensive systems were designed to stop planet-killer weapons. Normal ship guns could not hurt it. Vice Admiral Tony Garcia was commanding Liberty Prime near Mars. His ship was different from New Terra. Instead of energy weapons, it used massive projectile cannons that fired metal slugs the size of buildings. Target their largest ships first, Tony ordered. Show them what real firepower looks like. Liberty Prime's guns fired with a sound like thunder. The metal slugs traveled at incredible speed, punching through Empire ships like they were made of paper. Each shot destroyed or badly damaged an enemy vessel. The Empire fleet was in chaos. Half their ships were already destroyed or disabled. The others were trying to retreat, but the 3 human warships were faster and more maneuverable than they looked. Commander Amy Stone launched from New Terra's fighter bays with 3,000 small fighters. The human ships were painted black and moved like angry insects around the larger Empire vessels. All fighters, attack pattern Delta, Amy ordered. Focus on their weapon systems and engines. The human fighters swarmed over the Empire ships, their small but powerful guns destroying weapon ports and engine systems. The Empire pilots tried to fight back, but the human ships were too fast and too many. On Earth's surface, Ambassador Helen Cruz was still in the government building with Empire officers. But now the aliens were no longer confident and threatening. They were scared and confused. What is happening? The Empire officer demanded. Your species has no technology like this. Where did these ships come from? Helen smiled for the first time in months. Did you really think we would let you destroy our world without a fight? Humanity has been preparing for this day for 50 years. Major Kate Sullivan and her boarding teams were now attacking Empire ships that had been disabled by the main guns. Her soldiers moved through the enemy vessels, capturing prisoners and taking control of their computers. We have the enemy commander of the 3rd Fleet, Kate reported. He is asking to surrender. Dr. Frank Rodriguez was aboard Freedom's Edge, watching his weapons perform perfectly. The guns he had designed were destroying Empire ships faster than he had hoped. Weapon efficiency at 120%, Frank reported. We are exceeding all performance expectations. Engineer Bob Mitchell was keeping the ship's systems running smoothly during the battle. Even under full combat conditions, the human technology worked perfectly. The Empire fleet was breaking apart. Ships that were not destroyed were trying to escape, but the 3-planet ships were hunting them down. In 30 minutes, the most powerful fleet in the galaxy had been completely defeated. War Master Zethkar watched his fleet die around him. His flagship was badly damaged and losing power. He had never imagined that the small, primitive humans could build weapons like this. Send a message to all surviving ships, Zethkar ordered. Full retreat. We must warn the Empire about these human weapons. But it was too late. The 3-planet ships had surrounded the remaining Empire vessels. Admiral Morrison's voice came through the communication system. Empire Fleet, this is Admiral Morrison of the Human Defense Forces. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now, or we will destroy every one of your ships. The greatest military force in the galaxy had been defeated by a species they thought was helpless and primitive. The balance of power in the galaxy had changed forever. 1 year had passed since the Great Battle. Admiral Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of New Terra, watching crews from different alien species working alongside humans. The ship that had once been humanity's greatest secret was now a symbol of hope across the galaxy. The Free Worlds Alliance had grown to include over 300 star systems. Species that had suffered under Empire rule for centuries were now building their own governments and choosing their own futures. Humanity's planet ships patrolled the galaxy, making sure no one could force them back into slavery. Admiral, incoming. Transmission from the Outer Rim, Captain Nick Parker announced. The Crystalline Collective wants to join the Alliance. They are offering to share their advanced shield technology. Jake nodded as he entered the bridge. Every week brought new species wanting to join the Alliance. The galaxy was becoming a very different place, and Jake was proud of the role humanity had played. Emperor Vex then appeared on the main screen. The Empire leader looked much older than he had a year ago, ruling a shrinking empire while watching. Former colonies joined the Alliance had aged him quickly. Admiral Morrison, the Emperor said, I am calling to discuss the situation in the Sigma Quadrant. 3 more of our worlds have declared independence. That is their choice to make, Jake replied calmly. The Alliance will protect any world that asks for our help. The Emperor's face showed frustration. You are tearing apart an order that has existed for 800 years. Do you understand what you have done? We have given freedom to species that wanted it, Jake said. That seems like a good thing to me. Dr. Sandra Price was on Earth, meeting with representatives from the newest Alliance members. Her job had become much more important as the Alliance grew. She helped different species learn to work together despite their many differences. The methane breathers from Titan 7 have agreed to share their mining technology, Sandra reported through the communication system. In exchange, we will provide them with protection from the Raider clans. This was how the Alliance worked. Species helped each other with technology, resources, and protection. It was very different from the Empire's system of conquest and control. Vice Admiral Tony Garcia was commanding Liberty Prime near the edge of Alliance space. His mission was to watch for any Empire ships that might be planning attacks on independent worlds. We detected an Empire fleet moving toward the Centauri colonies, Tony reported. 12 ships, including 2 heavy cruisers. Jake considered this information. The Empire still controlled about half of their original territory, but they rarely tried to retake lost worlds. When they did, the Alliance was always ready to stop them. Take Freedom's Edge and intercept them, Jake ordered. Make it clear that the Centauri colonies are under Alliance protection. Admiral Chris Bell was aboard Terra's Wrath, the newest and largest of the planet ships. His vessel was patrolling the galactic core, where several major trade routes came. Together, the ship's presence ensured that pirates and raiders could not threaten merchant vessels. Trade volume is up 40% this quarter, Chris reported. Independent worlds are trading freely now that they do not have to pay Empire taxes. This was another benefit of the Alliance. Without the Empire taking most of their resources, worlds could trade with each other and build stronger economies. Life was improving for billions of beings across the galaxy. Captain Joe Turner was analyzing intelligence reports in his office aboard New Terra. As the Alliance's chief strategic planner, he helped Jake understand threats and opportunities across the galaxy. The Empire is building new ships, Joe reported. Our spies say they are developing weapons specifically designed to fight planet ships. Jake was not surprised. The Empire would not give up easily. They had ruled the galaxy for centuries and would not accept their reduced status without a fight. How? Long before these new weapons are ready? Jake asked. At least 2 years, Joe answered. Maybe 3, but Admiral, we are not standing still either. The new shipyards are ahead of schedule. This was true. Humanity now had construction facilities in 15 different star systems. Some were building more planet ships, while others created smaller vessels for Alliance member species. Engineer Bob Mitchell was supervising the construction of the newest planet ship in a hidden shipyard near Alpha Centauri. The vessel would be called Liberty's Dawn, and it would be even more powerful than the existing ships. Hull construction is 70% complete, Bob reported. We should have the ship operational in 8 months. Dr. Carl Fisher was working on new power systems that would make the next generation of planet ships even stronger. His latest fusion reactors could generate twice as much energy as the current designs. The new reactors are ready for testing. Carl announced, "If they work as expected, our ships will be able to fight much longer without stopping to refuel." Meanwhile, Major Kate Sullivan was training Alliance soldiers from different species. Her job was to create combined military units that could work together despite coming from very different worlds. "The Aquarian Marines are excellent in zero gravity," Kate reported. "The silicon-based troops from Rockworld are perfect for boarding." Operations. We are building the most diverse military force in galactic history. As Jake walked through New Terra, he saw the future of the galaxy. Humans worked alongside aliens with blue skin, others with crystal bodies, and some that looked like walking trees. They were all united by the desire for freedom and the willingness to defend it. A young communications officer approached Jake with a message pad. "Admiral, we received this transmission from outside the galaxy. It appears to be from another group of humans." Jake read the message and smiled. Apparently, some human ships had left Earth centuries ago and founded colonies in distant galaxies. They had heard about the Alliance and wanted to return home. "Send a reply," Jake ordered. "Tell them they are welcome to return. The galaxy is much safer now, and there is always room for more humans in the Alliance." 10 years later, Jake stood on the observation deck of New Terra, now an old man but still sharp and determined. The Alliance included over 1,000 worlds. The Empire had become just one government among many, no longer trying to conquer other species. Humanity's planet ships continued to patrol the galaxy, but now they were joined by massive vessels, built by other Alliance species. The Crystalline Collective had built ships made entirely of living crystal. The Vorthan Republic had created vessels that could travel faster than anything else in the galaxy. But it all started with 3 planet ships that no one saw coming. Jake smiled as he remembered that first battle when humanity showed the galaxy. Yet even the smallest species could change history. The universe was vast and full of wonders. And thanks to the Alliance, every species was free to explore it.